Welcome to Fancounters. My name is Nick.
And I'm Elizabeth.
And you can follow Fancounters on Twitter by going to @FancountersLive. We also have a Facebook group, which we just launched. It's called Sharpie Nation. Search Sharpie Nation on Facebook. Join the group, and you'll get exclusive conversations about each and every one of our celebrity guests and episodes. And the most important thing you can do is subscribe to the show on whatever podcast player you're listening to right now. That way you'll get notifications every Friday about the newest episode with a different celebrity guest each week. So after you hit the subscribe button, go ahead and share this episode or any of our others with your friends and spread the word. Now, if you have a celebrity guest you want us to interview, we're just an email away, and you can send those to
hello@fancounters.com.
Now, today on the show, I'm very excited to have an exclusive interview with Lizzie Kommes. You would know her from her starring role in the hit WETV series Love After Lockup. And as a special bonus, she's joined by somebody at the end of the show.
I have to tell you, people, Nick has been foaming at the mouth. He is so excited to do this interview today that he can barely contain himself.
We're going to be joined at the end of the show by Jasmine, her daughter, and they have some funny exchanges. It's like the classic mother-daughter relationship.
Yep, except this one's missing 10 years of her life.
That is true. Tough. It's a very tough thing to deal with. And I think that they're working it out the best way they can. And we're going to find out all about that right now on Fan Counters.
Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is Fan Counters with Nick and Elizabeth on the PodFix network.
There was this mob of people, and they're screaming my name.
Crazy fans.
Stop following me. Don't come around my house. If you do, the cops are going to be at yours. If I'm having dinner with my wife, don't sit down at my table. Don't follow me into the bathroom. Can I take a picture? We're going to, oh my God.
I think this guy wants to fight me. Ended up being a fan.
I'm the only one that's ever been on Sam Jackson and lived to tell about it. Well, guess what? I have a big surprise for you.
That's why we call it Fan Counters.
I don't think you're going to last on the air very long.
Good morning, Lizzie. Welcome to Fan Counters. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
My brother and I love watching this wild ride that you're currently on the show Love After Lockup. So I want to start by talking about the person who has to be the brightest light in your life, your daughter, Jasmine. She seems like your mom did a wonderful job raising her. So tell us about getting to know your daughter again, now that you're out of prison and she's an adult.
Yes, my mom did an amazing job raising my daughter. I am so happy she was there to step in when I went to prison. My daughter and I have a really great relationship. It's more like sisters. She tells me everything, and then she's very smart. So she definitely, when I have a problem, I call her and I ask her on how everything is, and she kind of guides me in the right direction when I have a problem. So we have a really good relationship.
Now, how much contact did you have with your daughter while you were incarcerated?
Well, I was incarcerated. I only seen my daughter 2 times.
Okay. And so Jasmine lives in Michigan and you're in Wisconsin. Are there any
Yes.
Are there any plans for the two of you to live near each other?
Oh, I wish, but she lives in Michigan with her boyfriend Kenny. And he's a great guy. She really found a really good guy. And I would love for her to live with me because that would be just so much fun. But I think, she's 20 years old now, and I think she needs to, spread her wings and try and figure out life. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And at least she's not going down the path I was going down when I was 20 years old.
Now, Jasmine was really upset about your relationship with Scott from the start. In fact, she was really upset when she found out that he was giving you money while you were in prison when he knew that you were using it to get drugs. Now, this has caused a lot of questions for me. I asked this to you yesterday when we spoke. How does an inmate have the ability to buy drugs in the first place?
Well, when I went to the California prison, there was a lot of drugs in prison. And I guess that's like the life. They have cell phones and they have drugs. Most of the time, the drugs are brought in through the family members or on visiting or either through dirty cops.
And that was the other thing that was surprising, that you had a cell phone in prison. Because you have all these videos showing up on the show. And I'm like, how is she taking these videos? Because I had no idea.
Are you able to call people on the cell phone?
Yes, of course. It's just like a regular cell phone.
But then it's not monitored. I thought it always had to be a monitored communication.
No, the cell phones are illegal. The cell phones are illegal in prison. And so the cell phone costs about $2,000.
Wow.
Okay, so someone smuggles you in a cell phone. Obviously, someone has to be paying the bill. Who's paying the bill?
That's why I said, on the show, I got over $800,000 while I was in prison. I got caught with at least 23 cell phones.
Wow.
And each cell phone was about approximately $1,500 to $2,000. So every time a cell phone got taken, I would have to buy a new one.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And are these?
Isn't it just crazy? What a lucrative business, right?
Are these prepaid cell phones, or is someone on the outside paying the bills?
Oh, like that. Okay. So what happens is that, most cell phones, you can just get a card to, pay them. You know what I mean? Like the prepaid. So everything's like prepaid because you can't have nothing in your name.
Okay.
And so what you do is you have somebody, your family member, loved one, Scott. You have them come and buy the prepaid, for AT&T prepaid, whatever, give you the number, you know what I mean, to pay your bill. And then you just plug it in on your phone.
But why isn't the phone taken away from him when he walks through the door?
What do you mean?
Like, how is he getting the phone to you? Are they not searching him when he comes in to visit you?
Well, Scott never brought me in a cell phone. But I bought cell phones in there. Most of the time, they come through dirty cops.
Okay.
The cell phones do. You know what I mean? Because you go through a metal detector, you know what I mean? You can't bring cell phones in that way.
Right.
So, yeah, most of the time, there's also, people that would drop it off around the fence perimeter, and there's people that worked outside the fence perimeter. So there was a bunch of different ways that drugs and cell phones came into the prison.
Okay. Now, I wondered this. You got released from prison in Wisconsin when you were on the show, correct?
Yes, I did.
When did you transport, because you were in California when you had met Scott, because he had made regular visits to you. When did you get transported and transferred and all that? That wasn't real clear on the show for me.
I got transported in November, so of 2017.
Okay.
Yes. So November 2017, I believe 2017. Yes. November 2017, I got transported back to Wisconsin.
Let's talk a little bit about today, because it's a huge day today. You are 2 years clean today. It's a huge deal.
I know.
Congratulations.
Isn't that awesome?
It's very awesome.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yes. Thank you so much. My sobriety it's the craziest thing, because I was in California prison in segregation, and I was still doing heroin, and I still had crystal meth. When I didn't have my heroin, I would do a little crystal meth to get me through the days I didn't have my heroin. Well, one day I went to the yard, and Officer Lucero, I swear this guy prayed for me. He had to have, because I don't understand any of it. So Officer Lucero asked me, he's like, well, you're getting out in 6 months. This is when I was supposed to get released, in 6 months. And he says, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, well, I'm going to open up a strip club in Houghton, Michigan. And then he's like, so you want demonic money? Now, that sounds horrible. Who wants demonic money?
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want demonic money. And then he's like, well, you need to find God. I was like, wait, God? What does God have to do with anything with my life? I don't want God. I don't need God. Mind you, I'm still doing heroin.
Right.
And he's like, well, God will save you. And I was like, what are you talking about? I do not pray. I don't do anything. I don't need God. Why are you preaching to me? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to walk away. And he's like, well, what's your dream? What do you want to do with your life? And I said, I always wanted to be an actress. And he's like, well, just ask God. And I'm like, again, with the God stuff, stop, please stop. So that day, right, this was November 2016. And December 2016, I got a letter from Sharp Entertainment saying that they want to do a TV show, didn't have a name at the time, but it became Love After Lockup, and they would like me to be in it. And so I'm like, okay, this is strange, right? And then February 2017, I got, that's when God took away my addiction. I was sitting in my cell. I had crystal meth. I was waiting to go from Big Mama. Yep, that was my dope dealer's name, Big Mama in prison.
Oh, my gosh.
And I was waiting to go on the yard and, get my heroin. And I loved heroin. Loved it. If anybody who does heroin knows that you cannot not do heroin. You just love it. And so I told my bunkie, I said, I don't want the crystal, because we were about to do a line of crystal and I was about to get my heroin. And I said, I don't want this. And she's like, why not? I said, I don't know. I said, I only want the heroin. I didn't go get my heroin. I let her go get it. I said, don't bring it back to this room. I didn't understand that God was taking out my addiction and changing me. And then in the past 2 years, I started reading my Bible. I started going to church. I stopped swearing. That was a big one because I used to cuss like a sailor. And so, I'm like a walking, talking miracle. If Officer Lucero can hear this now, thank you, because you obviously did a humongous prayer, because he's such a godly man. And he must have prayed for me like crazy, because God just came in and changed my life. It's a miracle.
No doubt being in prison had to suck. But you did make good use of your time. You're working towards your associate degree and completing your drug and alcohol treatment programs. And unlike some of the other stars of Love After Lockup, it seems that any alcohol and drug habits are things of the past, and you've been able to free yourself. What have you had any relapses or anything since being released?
I had one relapse with alcohol, and I posted it on my social media, on my Instagram, because I have a lot of friends, I call them friends, not fans, that are addicts. And I can relate to that. And it's like, even though I'm on TV, I still may mess up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's something that's going to be with me for the rest of my life. I can't get rid of it. It's a disease that's in me. And I had a bad relapse with alcohol about 2 months ago. And I told my probation officer right away. I let her know, I was feeling so guilty. And here's the thing. This is why I know I'm changing, because in the past when I drank, I never felt guilty.
Right.
So I felt guilty. I felt like I was the worst person in the world. So I let the world know. I let my PO know. And I just wanted that off my chest, because I was like, oh, wow, I feel like crap. You know what I mean?
What did the PO say? Were you afraid admitting that was going to get you in trouble? I would be afraid of that.
I really was. I was but I was sitting here and it was like, I should call my PO. And then so when I called her, the funny thing is that she didn't even respond right away. She said, what's this about? I said, it's an emergency. And she said, what's this about? And I said, well, I relapsed on alcohol. And she's like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay. Well, are you going to pick me up when I'm going to jail? What's happening? Because I'm freaking out, And I text her about 1 million times.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm busy right now. I'm like, you're busy? No, this is important. What do you mean you're busy? Do you realize I just said I relapsed on alcohol? And you realize, you know what I mean?
Right.
And she's like, I'm not worried about you. You're fine. Thank you for being honest. I'm like,
that's awesome.
And then sweating bullets for the next 5 hours. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's a huge sign that says you've turned a corner.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Lizzie, are you currently watching each episode of Love After Lockup when it comes out?
I am, yes.
Okay. And
I'm
are you
so addicted to the show?
Oh, I have a very strong addiction to the show.
I know, right? It's so crazy. Yes, I cannot believe about Tracy and Clint. That is wow. What? I can't believe she just like left him and took, and we're smoking crack, and that's just crazy.
Yeah, and I thought that was a little weird because if it's public information, I've looked it up. Clint has had problems with drugs before, so it's sort of amazing to me that he didn't like fall into that life again. And that one's a tricky one.
About that.
Right. No, that's all right. I can't wait to see what happens, when they reunite, and I know that that's probably coming up tonight on the episode of Love After Lockup.
Oh, she got out?
Well, the previews are always, make you think that that's going to happen. But, he said he knows which jail she just got released from. I assume at some point they're going to...
probably going to visit her, huh?
Heck yeah, they're going to have some sort of reunion. So, yeah, that's one that has been fascinating to me. The other one is the Michael, Sarah, and Megan situation. To find a love triangle.
I can't believe they're going to meet tonight. Wow. Like... That's I don't even know, like, how do they even know about each other?
But
right?
Because Sarah thinks there's something going on. Like, he had to have gone somewhere for the 2 days that he was missing.
Right. And is she pregnant?
Yeah, she's definitely pregnant. She's posted that on her Instagram. So she's having his kid. But it doesn't seem like they're together. Because
Sarah or Megan?
No, Sarah's pregnant.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
See, you don't follow. See, this is how hardcore I am into the show.
I see. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I'm like, wait a second.
I have no good response for this. I am very out of the loop on this, but I have to tell you that Nick is like foaming at the mouth. He just wants to talk about these episodes. I want to know... Do you feel that you're being portrayed fairly? Do you like how your story is being portrayed?
You know what? WETV and Sharp Entertainment gave me a huge chance to change my life. And again, it is a TV show. And I believe that this is about mine and Scott's love story, not exactly my story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's about us. It's about, finding love out of prison, and can it work? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, my story, that's going to be a different sequel. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding.
Well,
it would be amazing if I had a sequel, right?
It would be great.
We've had a lot of reality TV people on, and lots of times they've said that although it is a fair portrayal, there are so many things that are kind of interacting, or not manipulating is the wrong word, but are influencing how we see the final cut. And so that's not always...
right. We did a lot of filming. There was a lot of filming done. And so I believe, with the, thing is that they take the pieces that they want and to put together this masterpiece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way I can explain it without getting in trouble.
That's good.
No, because I think that's
perfect.
That is how all of these shows are put together. We've had some of the Teen Mom people on our show before, and they've kind of alluded to the same thing. It's pieces of this puzzle that they're putting together to give us a story that, they're filming for hours and hours and days. Well, we don't have that much time in a 1 hour show to show all of that. So it's understandable.
I know. They filmed me at my job. It was I think it was 8 hours, and it's going to be literally a 5-minute piece, if that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, we talked, obviously, very engagingly about the other couples. Have you talked to any of the couples that have been on the show at all?
I have not talked to any couple that has been on the show at all. I have no idea where they live. We do not interact. I think at the end of the season, we might all have to get together for a photo shoot or something. I'm not sure, but I have not interacted with any of them.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about this process. You and Scott, how did you and Scott get selected for the show? And what's the process like for filming when you're in prison versus now that you're out?
They contacted me in prison because of my beautiful mugshot. That was the most horrible picture in the world, but it went viral. And this is before viral was out, though,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's why they contacted me, and then I was on Meet an Inmate, which is, a website where you can find, find men that want to write women prisoners. And so that's how, we got selected. And then going through it, they didn't film me in prison because of California laws. They can't film in prison. So they did a lot of, while I'm talking to Scott.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a lot of cell phone coverage from Scott's end.
Right,
Yep.
in the first season,
Okay.
yes. But then once I got out, my first day getting out, it was so crazy because I have my daughter, I have Scott, and I have all these cameras just filming me. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is a lot. It was so much. Because I can't even sit and talk to my daughter and have a conversation with her, and I haven't really seen her in 10 years, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't even get to know Scott the way I want to get to know him because there's a whole entire camera crew, every word, everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, it's you don't know if he's acting like he's supposed to be acting, or is he acting like, he wants to be acting, or is he showing his real self, or, So it was a lot to take in.
Okay.
That very first moment when you got out of prison and you went to that gas station and basically raided the place, was that you in that moment? Because that had to just be you're out of prison, now you're free. Like you mentioned, there's all these cameras, you're with this guy who you've spent some time with, but obviously in a monitored setting. How was that moment for you? How do you remember that very first moment being out of prison?
Oh, that was all me.
Okay.
I was like a kid in a candy store. There was so much stuff. So much stuff I took for granted. Being able to buy bubble gum. I beat bubble gum, I pop one in every hour. You know what I mean? Because we're going to have gum in prison. And so just everybody, looked at me wow, why would she go to a gas station first? Because gas stations have everything you need.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Yeah.
So why not? You can get this. And I never, what were those things? They never had those. The slushy, not the slushy machine. What are they called?
The Freel shakes, right?
Yeah.
Those things
They
are
never
killer.
had those before
Right.
10 years ago. So I was I bought one for everybody. I never seen that before. I was wow, this is crazy. So I went a little overboard, but I enjoyed it. It was my freedom.
Let's talk about Scott for a little bit. He's an interesting guy, but he doesn't really seem to be your type. If he was in a lineup of guys, I would not choose him for you. So what attracted you to him over all the other men who were writing you?
Well, the truth is that 3 months into talking to Scott, and because I had a cell phone, so I got to talk to him on the phone and everything, I told him I was a heroin addict, and I let him know that that's what I love is heroin. And I said, if you have, because I really liked Scott. He would talk to me, he would listen to me, and I really cared for the man. He wasn't just a trick. And so when I finally told him, that I was a heroin addict, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, you can leave or stay, but just know that I'm going to be asking you for money for heroin. That's what it's for. It's not for anything else. Maybe a little for my commissary, but it's for heroin. I need to be high. And he said, okay, no, I'm staying. He's the only guy that I was able to tell the truth to, that I was a drug addict. And he accepted that. And that spoke volumes to me. You know what I mean? What guy accepts that you're a drug addict in prison? You know what I mean? That's a pretty hard pill to swallow. And so, he showed me that it's okay to be who I am. And he still, loved me. So that's why I picked Scott over everybody.
One of the most interesting moments of the show on that very first season was your first couple of days out of prison. And we spoke about this yesterday, kind of in a pre-interview. Scott was having a hard time sharing you. And we've seen that with some other couples on this season of the show where another man doesn't want to share the woman who's just out of prison. But the problem with this is you're being shared with your own daughter. And he didn't understand why you wanted to have these fun moments, you know, your very first day out of prison with your kid. That was kind of alarming to viewers to see that he was kind of being insensitive about the fact that you had freedom and you wanted to spend time with all of the people that you love. Was that surprising to you when he couldn't see why you would want to have all these other relationships as well?
Yeah, I honestly don't think Scott has had many relationships. And in a relationship, it's a lot of giving and compromise. And I don't think he understood that. I don't think he understood that I haven't seen my daughter in 10 years and that my daughter comes first before any man. Like, I left my daughter for 10 years for the life of drugs and partying. And I'm going to put her first once I get out of prison. And Scott didn't understand that. Scott had no concept of me putting my daughter first. He wanted it to be about him and me, you know? And I was like, no, my daughter is going to come first. Like, I don't care who you are. My daughter's coming first. And, you know, he really didn't understand that. And, you know, I tried explaining it to him, and that's why Jasmine and Scott butted heads a lot.
Do you see Jasmine ever coming around to giving Scott a chance?
I actually do see Jasmine coming around giving Scott a chance. You know, I'm hoping that they can get along and we can be one big happy family. But only time will tell, won't it?
Mm-hmm. For me, this season has been the most talked about TV show that I've witnessed, honestly. I mean, who would have thought that Scott's credit card declining would be the cliffhanging moment that would drive us crazy all week long? But it happened. So there must have been clues to you since your release from prison that Scott wasn't a wealthy man. Were you clued in on maybe that he was having some financial trouble before his card declined?
Not at all. Okay, so Scott never told me. He always told me he had money. Scott said he was rich. And when his card declined, I didn't understand it. I had no concept of it. He always showered me with money. So for me to see that his card declined, I was very confused. I was like, wait, why is your card declining? You know? And I still didn't really get it after that. Like, I was just like, oh, maybe you just spent too much on that one, and because he paid with another one, you know. So I didn't really understand that at all, because he always said or portrayed that he had money.
I've read that the $90,000 Scott sent you might not have been his, that he was borrowing or getting money from people like his parents. Did he ever reveal to you where the money he sent you actually came from?
Yes, he told me his bank account.
Oh, okay.
So he was claiming all of it.
Yeah, he said it came from his bank account. So.
Okay.
Yeah, he always said he had money. So he portrayed that to me. 3 years, well, going on 4 years, knowing Scott, he has money.
Sure.
That's what he told me. Bill has money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has money. And I don't, he never tried to just tell me he was poor. You know what I mean?
All right.
Or broke. I should say broke, right? Right? That's the word.
That's the word.
Broke. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we saw Scott propose to you, and you had the reaction that everybody thought you would have. A very unsure, I guess. The entire country could tell that you were kind of put on the spot and maybe should have said no. Would you go back and change the way you reacted in that moment?
Oh, my goodness. The way I reacted was honest. I want to be married to Scott, but I think it was really soon for him to propose to me.
It's fair.
Okay. So following the engagement, you went to a church where you were less than impressed with Scott's spontaneous vows. Do you think you were expecting too much of him?
I think that like the vows, like, I mean, if you love somebody, you know what to say to them, even on the spot. If you really, truly love someone, you're like, okay, this is why I love you. You know the reason why I love you, not like birds chirping, like, doot, doot, doot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, really? Like, how do you not know you love some? Like, I didn't understand it. I was like, you don't know your vows? You have, but why not? I mean, they're fake. I mean, we're just doing a mock wedding like thing, but I knew exactly what to say to him. Yeah. I knew, you know, and I was just like, and you have nothing.
But Lizzie, he's the one who proposed to you. You would think he had all these romantic things to say to you. Was he romantic on the phone with you, though, prior to that? Like, is Scott like a romantic person and he just failed at that moment, or?
Scott is not a romantic person. He has not even gave me flowers yet.
Oh, my gosh.
I know,
That's
right?
ridiculous.
I know. That kind of sucks. You know, and I love flowers. Just a FYI. Scott, I love flowers. Hint, hint, hint.
Okay. So you talked a little bit about it, but how much now, a couple years later, does your role with God play into your life? Or does your faith with God play into your life?
Oh, my goodness. Every day. Okay. So every morning I wake up and do a Bible study. I know 5 scriptures by heart. I do my Bible study in the morning and I do it at night before I come home. And I talk to God like every day. Like when I'm feeling, you know, a little down or I feel like I'm getting attacked, I constantly, you know, I talk to God. And, you know, coming from a person who, you know, 2 years ago was like, God, what? I don't want God in my life, you know, to now, you know, I'm like Bible something Betty, you know what I mean? I just, it's a whole different ball game, you know, and I honestly didn't start changing my ways until 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't have faith. I didn't have God in my life until 2 years ago. You know, a lot of people say, well, she had God this whole time. Why'd she use men? And no, I didn't have God the whole time. I had God 2 years ago. I was still using men a year and a half. Well, a year and like, you know, yeah, about a year and, you know, 9-10 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I totally changed my ways. And, you know, I go to church every Sunday. I have to. If I stop, I don't want to ever use heroin again. I don't ever want to go back to my old lifestyle of stripping. I don't ever want to, you know, wake up and not remember where I'm at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you make great strides. We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Now, everyone knows the internet can bring out the hate in people. It's so easy to write nasty things in comments and post on articles and that kind of thing. But what people tend to forget is that there's somebody on the other side that you're talking about reading those things. And the criticism is quite unfair. In fact, people are saying that you've used Scott for his money. What would you tell people who make that accusation?
That's a good question, right? Yes, a lot of people are saying I used Scott for his money. In the beginning, yes, I did. I'm not lying. I am putting it all out there. I did before. I'm very honest about what I used to be. I mean, I was a hustler. I was a gold digger. I have a lot of labels that I used to be. And about 3 to 4 months in our relationship, you know, Scott was the one who offered to help. You know what I mean? And help me with my addiction, help me with my commissary, you know, and, you know, everybody says I used him for money. I guess if I used him for money, he wouldn't have known anything about my addiction he's paying for or anything else that he's paying for if I used him and I lied to him. But I didn't lie to Scott. I told him the truth. So using him for his money, no. I love the man. And so using him for his money, that's not what I did.
You have been working very hard since your release to set up your life and get on your feet. Talk a little bit about the struggle and how hard it was to get a full-time job, and what were the most challenging parts?
Upon getting released from prison, I tried applying at so many places for a job, and nobody would hire me. And so I had this workforce study they give us right before we're released from prison because I was in a treatment program, and you do a resume online and everything. And so I had a little USB, and I uploaded my resume to this website. And on the website, they hooked me up with a temp agency. And this was about a month. Let's see, I got out in August. So this is about a month after I got out of prison. And so the temp agency, I had to fill out so much paperwork. I didn't know there's that much paperwork to fill out.
Yep.
And so I filled out all this paperwork. And, they said, well, do you want a laboring job? No, come on now. Me with my acrylic nails and my hair. And I said, what does that mean?
Right.
What does labor mean?
What exactly will I be doing?
I know. And they're like, well, you have to be doing hard work. And I'm like, sure, I guess I need a job, right? Who's going to be picky at this point, right? And so I went to this factory, and they actually hired me. And I was like, no way, I'm working in a factory. The crazy thing is that, like, from stripper to, like, normal pay person, like, actual making my own money, I mean, it was such a life-changing experience. You don't understand. Like, I actually have to budget and, like, watch my bills and, like, I mean, it's a trip. Like, I never done this in my life. I mean, I was a stripper for, like, 17 years. So I always had bukus of money, and I was able to just whatever, you know what I mean? And now it's like, if I want to do something fun, like, do I go out to eat or do I go to the grocery store? I have to make choices.
Welcome to reality.
Right, I know, huh?
Welcome to how the rest of us live.
I know, I love it. It's so much fun. It's an adventure every day. That's the way I look at it. And but everybody who's been doing it for forever, I'm just like, wow, like, this is pretty cool, man. Like, if you took a step back and, had everything taken away from you, and then you have to do this all over again, you'd, like, be so grateful. I'm very grateful.
I'd be so lost.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's difficult. I can only imagine. Now, Let's talk about something fun that you've done recently. You've launched your own YouTube channel. You've got a few videos up already. That's kind of exciting.
Oh, my goodness. It's so hard. Okay, so I don't know what to talk about.
Elizabeth here can relate to having to learn about all these social media platforms and what you should be doing and all of that. She struggles with it, which is why I have to manage it.
Yeah, Nick has to do everything because I understand Facebook and I understand email. But when it comes to Instagram or Twitter or all these things, I don't get it. And I am too old to learn. And I don't want to learn. So Nick is in charge of all of our social media, and I am only authorized to give you our email address because I don't know how to do anything other than answer an email.
That is so cute. I have no clue on Twitter. I tried Twitter. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't even know what a tweet is.
Yeah, that's you and I. That's me, sister, because I don't get it either.
Yeah, and Instagram, I got it down pat. Now YouTube, I'm like really where in order to make a video on YouTube, it has to be longer than like 30 seconds, and so you have to I got a little tripod for my phone and stuff. And so I'm like in the right direction, I think, but I just got to sit down and, because I work like 10-hour shifts. So it's like, I have to do it on the weekend. So maybe I'll start making a video every weekend to start out. That sounds like a plan, right?
That sounds manageable.
Start somewhere.
Yeah, right? So because the weekends are free and I just sit at home with my cat. So that's what I'm a cat lady now.
Aw. What's your cat's name?
Shadow.
Okay.
She's on my Instagram. She's so cute. When I do Bible study, she tends to somehow want to be on the Bible. So I put the Bible over the top of her.
Well,
so
yeah,
that
because
way
she
there
wants
I can
attention.
read my Bible.
Now, I can tell you, for what you've been doing with going live on Instagram and stuff, I think almost like my recommendation based on my social media awareness is that Instagram is way more powerful than YouTube. People are using it much more often to get even their video content and stuff. So,
But isn't the Instagram the one where things disappear?
No, that's Snapchat.
Oh.
No, Snapchat, yeah.
Is it Instagram the one where you...
I'm on Snapchat, too, but I don't use it that much.
Okay. Instagram posts photos, but now all these celebrities and stuff use it to go live, like Lizzie's been doing. Because I watched a live video from you the other day. On
Yes,
Instagram,
I do it usually. I usually go live when the show is on after the first commercial break. Or during the first commercial break, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm going to check you out tonight for sure then.
So what's the difference between Instagram and Facebook? Because you can go live on Facebook.
Instagram's for the younger generation, and Facebook's full of old people.
Careful.
Ask a kid. That's what they'll tell you.
That's why I really like Instagram is because, like, you can do the video, you can do the picture. You know, I like taking videos and pictures. I work in a factory, so I never wear makeup. And so, like, I every once in a blue moon, you'll see me, like, really cute. But other than that, I'm like, why?
It's real. It's real.
That's what my life came down to. I mean, if you look at my old Instagram to my new Instagram, like, what a change, right? Have you seen my old one?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
Really?
I only knew of the
I
Lizzie.
think it's London Lizzie.
London Lizzie?
Yeah, it was in prison. It's
Oh.
it's night and day.
I'm going to check
It's
that
the
out.
evil me, the good me. Like,
Okay.
it is night and day. Really, it is.
Well, we went off on a horrible tangent here on social media. So,
Oh, we did.
So sorry.
all right.
My
so,
fault.
Lizzie, this is your chance. Let's talk to your fans and the viewers of Love After Lockup. What do you want them to know about you?
Okay, to all my friends, because I hate calling you fans. It's so interpersonal. I just want everybody to know that, you know, I changed my ways. I have God in my life now. And a lot of people think it's an act, but I honestly don't know how to act yet. You know, I haven't made it to that platform yet. So I'm doing the real me, and this is the real me. And yes, I was a bad person in my past. Yes, I used people, but if you're an addict, you know that we use people. I mean, we use people every day to get what we want. And so coming from an addict to another addict, you already know that we can change. We can become better people. We can be in society and help people, help other people with problems that we have. And I just want to say thank you for watching the show. Thank you for being supportive of me in my addiction. And today I am 2 years clean. Sobriety. Awesome. Woo! And I just say thank you for watching the show, and I love you guys.
So if you could change one thing about your life right now, what would it be?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I wouldn't. I have a really good life, you guys. Or maybe be a movie star, but like,
that could come.
I mean, you know, not just a reality TV star, maybe a movie star, but I have an amazing life. I really do. Like, I have everything I need. I have an amazing cat that's my therapy. I'm clean and sober 2 years. Like, I never thought I'd be off drugs in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my life is really perfect, actually.
Well, you could have another series coming up because fans of the show want to see you and Scott on Marriage Boot Camp. I have seen that more than 1 or 2 or 100 times. Wouldn't that be an experience?
Yikes is all I have to say on that.
Marriage Boot Camp?
Yeah, that's like a.
Wait, that means you have to be married first, right?
No. They take couples that
Are going to
are
be
just
married.
together or are thinking about marriage,
Yeah.
and they bring them together and they air out their.
Oh.
It's really just a way to showcase drama, but
Yeah.
Drama. Yes, we definitely have that.
You air out all the problems that you have, and then you decide whether or not you actually wish to stay married or be married. Yeah.
Marriage boot camp. Oh, that sounds like fun times.
let's promote your Instagram, which is Lizzie Love After Lockup. You can look her up there. And then you also have a YouTube channel. Do you have a handle for that? Do you know?
It's under Elizabeth Kommes, and that's Kommes. And I also have one that's Lizzie Kommes, but that's an old one where I'm high on crystal meth singing Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Reason. And my boobs are just out.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Are you not able to take those down?
I don't, because I don't have the
password.
I don't have the password. I don't remember the email address. I was like a 2
It
week
might
run,
be up
man.
there forever.
So
All right, then.
I don't remember I don't know how I would take them down, because I would love to take those down.
Our show's called Fancounters, and I am sure that since the show's been on the air, you've had some run-ins with people who have recognized you. Do any of those run-ins with fans stand out in your mind for something that you want to tell us about your experience with fans?
Let's see, I went to the gas station, and I had this lady recognize me. And she was like, "Oh, my goodness, you look like a girl on TV." And I was like, "Yes, I am on TV." She's like, "No way." And then she had to go get her husband and her kid from their house. And so I waited at the gas station so I could do a little selfie with them and everything. So, yeah, it was pretty cool that I was actually recognized. That was my first person who recognized me.
Are
and
you
there
okay?
were people who recognized me. So, yeah, it was cool.
Are you okay with fans of the show coming up to you and asking you for
course.
pictures and stuff?
Yes, I'll take selfies. I will sign autographs, whatever. I mean, and then if I do go to a different city, like my sister lives, well, she's my fake sister, but my sissy, she lives in Green Bay. And so if I go to Green Bay, I'll post on my Instagram that I'm in Green Bay. So, maybe they can meet me at the mall or whatever. I will post where I'm at so fans can meet me.
Now, before we end, we talked at the beginning, before we started, that maybe we could get Jasmine to join us. Is that still a possibility?
Of course. She's been blowing up my phone this whole time.
Oh, my
Mom,
gosh.
why aren't you answering? Okay, so want me to try calling her?
Yeah. Do you want to try and three-way us together? Is this Jasmine?
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, Jasmine, it's Nick and Elizabeth. We were interviewing your mom, but I don't know where your mom went.
She was trying to three-way us in, and now we think we lost your mother.
Oh, okay.
Hang tight. She'll come back.
Maybe. Did she?
Wait, are you guys still there?
Oh, my God.
Oh, no, you did it.
We're all here.
Jasmine?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. How'd I do it?
Lizzie, you connected us with your daughter, Jasmine. Jasmine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We had a really delightful chat with Lizzie and your mom. So I just wanted to take a moment to ask you a couple of questions. I mean, you lost your mom to prison when you were just 3 years old. What was it like at 19 to get her back?
It was like a good feeling when I got her back. I was happy, and I felt like that we can actually have a relationship. And at the same time, it was I was kind of scared because I didn't know her, and it was my first time meeting her pretty much outside of the prison walls.
Right. Now, you were raised by your grandmother.
Yes.
And you have no siblings. So
no, I'm an only child.
So it was just you and your grandmother? And
yeah, it was me, my grandma, and my grandpa.
Okay. And so if you had to categorize your childhood, how would you say it was?
I would say amazing, because I was an only child, and they loved me so much, and they made me so happy, and they obviously knew what I've been through, and they spoiled me so much.
Okay.
And I seriously love them.
I was just gonna say she's spoiled.
Now, your mom alluded that she had only seen you twice during the 10 years that she was in prison. Did you guys have any other contact? Were there like letters or birthday cards or birthday anything? Or was she just missing for 10 years and then showed up?
Well, she wrote me like throughout like all of those years, but I didn't write her back. And
What happened to the letters?
I threw them away.
Why?
Because you just owned me.
I didn't disown you, Jasmine.
You did, though.
I did not.
Anyways, so she just like wrote me, and obviously I was a teenager and I was not worried about it, and like she would call me like here and there, like she would call me and like talk to me and see how I'm doing, but
okay,
that was it.
But
remember when you taught me how to Skype?
Yeah.
Yeah, she taught me how to Skype in prison.
Would you use that often? I mean, it doesn't sound like it.
What?
The Skype.
Well, I was on have illegal cell phones. So I could do it whenever I wanted to.
So you did have that kind of communication going.
Right, yeah. And I made sure Jasmine had her own cell phone so I could talk to her.
Now, Jasmine, we know you're in Michigan. Your mom's in Wisconsin. Are there any plans for you guys to maybe live in the same city at some point?
Well, I hope so. I hope like eventually that I can like move to Wisconsin. And
what are you gonna do with Kenny?
I don't know yet. I mean, like,
okay.
I'm only 20 years old. I still have like the rest of my life ahead of me.
Right.
So eventually, I hope that I can move to Wisconsin and start a actual relationship with her.
That would be awesome. Come down right now. Come on, Kenny's at work. Come on.
Just for the day, right? So my question is, your mom has been very clear about bad decisions that she's made, and she's not proud of all of them, and these are all things that made her into the person that she is. Now, those things are not activities that one would want to role model. So how did you stay, like I think your grandmother did an amazing job, but how did you stay away from the urge to do any of that stuff? Was it enough that your mom was locked up for those things that you're like, I'm not following that path? Did you ever think about that?
Well, that's like one thing I learned from her is to not screw up like her. And obviously, like
drugs, because they all know I did drugs.
And obviously, I like seen that, and I never wanted to like be that person who would like screw up their life and like kind of like go to prison, you know. So I did learn a lot from her, but it's just not to screw up and don't get into drugs and don't hang out with like the wrong crowd. But obviously I did have like those options to like try this kind of drug or try that, but I always thought about her every time I got asked, and I denied it. I was like, no, I will never, ever do any sort of drug in my whole entire life.
And you seem very protective of your mom, too, on the show when Scott was around and all of that. You didn't want her to get sucked into that trap. You, first of all, weren't happy that he was providing money for drugs. Did you have that wall put up immediately with Scott? Is there ever a chance that, you know, there's some more acceptance of him?
Well, pretty much like it first started out with like the first time that I ever like heard about Scott, I was like, oh boy, like he's like going to be, you know, like another trick. Like that's what I thought, because that's all my mom ever had were like tricks. And that's pretty much like what the vibe I got from him, because she would like always talk about like money, you know, and the more that I talked to Scott, the more like I felt like that he was a trick, and I did put up a huge wall because I didn't like him. And then I got confirmed that he sent her a shit ton of money. And I was like, he's definitely a trick, you know? And I did not trust him. I did not like their relationship, and I did not want them together because he was just going to cause more problems. And obviously I'm going to like protect my mom and try my best to like keep him away from her, you know, because like I felt like slowly my mom was being taken away from me again.
Especially because you hadn't had any time with her yet, alone.
Right.
And all that.
Yeah, like I had no time with her like whatsoever, because every time that me and her would try to talk or try to hang out, Scott was always right by her side, 24/7. And it's like, can I just get like a moment with her? Like I never, like me and her like never like actually like hung out like while Scott was there. Like never, ever. It was just her and Scott, always her and Scott. And that made me like feel like horrible. Like I was so upset about it because she just got out of prison, and it's like I can't even like actually like talk to her or get to know her, you know? Yeah. And it was horrible. Like it was like pretty much she was in prison again, and it sucked.
We talked a lot about the editing that goes into programs because they tape so much footage we can't possibly watch it all. Of the stuff that they picked, is that a pretty fair representation of your experience of what you went through?
Like pretty much my feelings in the show with like my mom and like Scott, like those are like my like true feelings of like how I felt and how I still feel with like my mom and Scott. And like everything that is being like shown on the show, like that's like how it went. Like I was being completely honest on that show. I don't lie because I hate liars. Like my mom, she lied all her life, and I will never be a liar. So everything that you see and that I say is 100% honesty and how I feel about everything.
You have an opportunity right now to talk to so many fans of the show. What do you want them to know about you, where you're at, and you know, what would you say to the viewers of the show?
I would have to say that I am like, I'm not rude, I'm not mean. Like I just want what's best for my mom and for me, and I want to have a relationship with her. Excellent. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, having both of you on the show was thrilling for me. I really appreciate your time, both of you guys, for talking with us and sharing a little bit about your life and the road that brought you to where you are now. Jasmine, do you have any social media handles that you want to throw out there for everybody to follow you?
Oh, yeah. Get a lot of followers, Jasmine. She hardly has any.
Like my username?
Well, no.
Yeah,
do you have a Twitter? Like, do you have a Instagram or something that you want people to follow you on, or no?
Only if you want people to follow you.
Yeah.
If you don't want them, nothing.
I'm pretty sure it's like. Okay,
How do you
so
not
it's Jasmine. Okay, so my Instagram is JasmineKiss13, and everyone can go and follow me, and that'd be pretty awesome. And
her name's spelled different. It's JAZMYNE.
Oh my God!
What? I'm just letting them know. How are you gonna follow it if they spell your name wrong?
Okay.
This is a great mother-daughter interaction.
We'll just sit back and let the two of you do a little therapy today.
We talk for hours every day. So
well, it's been a pleasure talking to both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Our thanks to Lizzie and Jasmine for being on the show today. What an amazing story of making a lot of bad decisions, and now it just seems like I can't snap my fingers. I tried, but everything's just like going in the right direction for her now.
Well, I'm very proud of her because that is a tough life, and she has made some pretty bad choices, and she's really good at owning up to her choices that she's made and the decisions that have led her to the place that she is. And I'm always happy, whether you find God or however you describe it, that you have a chance to make your world a better place, that you have a chance to change the direction or the trajectory that your life is going in. And it sounds like she's really working very hard to make a go of her life, and that she's been relatively successful in the last 2 years.
I want to send a special shout out and thanks to WETV and Sharp Entertainment for approving our time with Lizzie. Sometimes when shows are still airing, not all the information is out there yet. The people know what happened, but we we can't find out because we have to watch it. And I know they were a little nervous about having us have this conversation, but they allowed it with certain guidelines, and you guys were the greatest. So shout out to them for allowing this interview to happen.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you one more time before we leave, you can find us online. We are on Twitter. You can find Fancounters at Fancounters Live. And on Facebook, we do have a Facebook group we just launched. We're just getting it started. It's Sharpie Nation. Just search for that, and you'll find our group there. Lastly, our email address.
Oh, it's hello@fancounters.com.
Any comments, feedback on the show? We'd love to hear from you, and you can send those emails there. If you have a celebrity guest you want us to interview, send it on. We'll try and get them on for you, and then I'll respond and get your questions that we'll ask them.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool show here at Fancounters. We hope you enjoyed it, and if this is your first time here, welcome. We hope you go back and listen to the other 75 shows. And continue to listen, because next week we've got another guest from Love After Lockup. I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're going to have to come back for that. But it's another full episode with a new guest.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
This was a podcast from the PodFix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.